Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And a jolly good morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, this morning we are not going to go down the political route, but we are going down the current affairs route. A very serious matter that too, and that is chronic kidney disease. We've got a specialist formerly from the Imperial College London to talk about that here this morning, and that is Dr. Kamal Gammampilla. Very good morning to you, Doctor.
Good morning.
And thank you very much. And before you all rush off and start sending us SMSs asking him about your chronic cough and so on, this doctor is a little bit beyond that kind of doctor. All right? He's got a PhD, so it's a doctorate. There you go. Now then, let's have a look at the scale of the issue here. Can we have, Mr. Producer, can we have the map of Sri Lanka, please? Look, there's the map, Doctor.
Yes.
And the dark parts is where it's a high risk.
Absolutely.
Of CKDU, as it's called.
Yeah.
But then what I can notice is, you know, down south, the hill country doesn't seem to be, there's no risk at all there. But yet you can see that, you know, in the heart of Polonnaruwa and so on, it's high risk.
Absolutely.
Shall I start by asking you?
Yes.
How does one know that one has got kidney disease?
You will begin to feel ill, perhaps.
Ill in, as in what? Headaches, what?
That type of thing, or lethargy, that might be the best indicated, tiredness, etc. That is in the standard kidney failure as such.
Right.
But with this particular kidney disease,
Yeah.
similar thing would happen.
Yeah.
But except that, just like in diabetes, for example,
Yeah.
we can say long years in advance,
Right.
one's kidneys may fail if they do not stop their protein leakage in the urine,
Right.
because they begin to pass proteins in the urine.
Right.
And not every kidney disease does that,
Right.
but typically high blood pressure and diabetes does it.
Right.
But these kidney patients are in the absence of those conditions,
Right.
but still they may pass proteins,
I see.
not necessarily albumin to begin with, but other proteins.
Mm-hmm.
That happens because they are being exposed to a toxin or toxins. And when that happens, so in their case too, they will have a similar situation as if they were diabetic or high blood pressure kidney patient. But in Rajarata, for example,
Yeah.
in those areas, the government is screening people
Right.
en masse. They go from village to village, screening. And then at the screening stage,
It's a good program.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But there are some weaknesses in that.
Right.
I think we need to iron those out.
Right. But what is the scale of the problem?
Oh, huge. The president himself says there are 400,000 CKDU cases or patients, but they really are not patients in the sense they do need dialysis or transplant now.
But what he means is that at the moment, the scale of the problem is around 400,000 people who are affected in some way, will need treatment either now, a bit later, or in the longer term.
Absolutely. And it's virtually guaranteed that all those people will become kidney patients one day.
So there you are. So the president is right.
Absolutely. If anything, I would say his estimations are somewhat underestimations.
Right. So that's a very serious problem.
It is, absolutely.
We've got some slides. Perhaps whilst we are showing them to our viewers,
Yeah.
we could talk over them.
Yeah.
Right. It says here, has the highest number of oral cancer patients in the world. Sri Lanka has. And the health crisis is not limited to kidney disease, which indicates that kidney disease is up there.
Absolutely, it is one of the conditions.
Right.
If people are exposed to toxic material,
Yeah.
what we call heavy metals in particular, that is cadmium, lead, arsenic, and those things are there in the diet of people in Rajarata, not only Rajarata, now in southeastern regions such as Moragala.
I think we've got more slides as well.
Yeah.
Let control room, let's just play them all and then we'll carry on. Right, there we are. Now, I found this one quite interesting.
Yes.
in the sense that if the perception, my perception is that kidney disease is all to do with water.
Yes.
And then I suppose our hill country is got lots of water. So how come the hill country doesn't seem to be affected then?
Right, very good question.
Yeah.
In my view, as it was shown in the map,
Yeah.
it is there in Rajarata, that is Anuradhapura, Pulur, Madhavachia, Vaunia. In fact, Madhavachia is not in Rajarata, perhaps it's just beyond that.
Beyond that, yeah.
And Kurunagala now, and Munragala, Vallavaya, Tanamavila, such areas. These are places where they get water from hill country for rice cultivation.
Right. But if the water is coming from the hill country,
Yes.
and it's going down to these places,
Yes.
then, and if water is the problem, then how come the people in the hill country don't have the problem?
Absolutely. When you say the water is the problem, it is not the drinking water.
Ah.
The drinking water doesn't have enough quantity of the toxic material
Right.
to cause kidney problems.
And what is this toxic material? Cadmium?
Cadmium and lead are very well established to cause chronic kidney disease.
Right.
In fact, WHO identifies
Right.
for certain elements
Yeah.
what is the health condition that must be investigated,
Right.
or what is the health condition that will manifest as a result of exposure to these particular metals.
Right.
When it comes to lead, it is in the children mostly, it is the neurological development in the children is
Right.
affected, and bladder cancer in the adults. When it comes to arsenic, it is skin cancer and diastolic blood pressure in the adults again. When it comes to cadmium, it is chronic kidney disease.
So there's absolutely no two words about it.
Absolutely not. And the WHO had these things identified for a long time now. Cadmium has been studied extremely thoroughly over the last 60 years.
Now we've got this other slide here, Doctor. What's this slide here then?
Right. What that says is the kidney problem is there in Rajarata and, as I said, in the southeastern region, where they get irrigation water for rice cultivation.
Right.
So what is happening is those who are falling ill with this chronic kidney disease, they are not farmers because they work in, they do farming activity.
Right.
But these are farming communities.
Right.
Farming families, farming households.
Right.
That is purely because they consume toxic food or food with heavy metals regularly, what's called persistent exposure.
Ah, persistent exposure.
Exposure.
Yes, there you are. There's that slide again.
Yeah. And if you have, there what it shows is, some people in Rajarata on the left-hand side, they will fall ill because they eat their own food, as it were, persistently.
Ah, because it's over a period of time, it's constantly they're eating the contaminated.
Absolutely. Thing is, if we are exposed persistently, just like in alcohol drink consumption, one who drinks large quantities regularly, everyone knows that they go down first.
Right, okay.
And those who take smaller quantities irregularly, perhaps nothing may happen.
I see.
And the in-between people may fall ill.
But doctor, so if these farmers in the Rajarata are constantly and persistently eating the food that they produce, and they're exposed over a long period of time, and you say that that's how they've got the disease, then you and I, well, not you because you live in London,
Yeah.
but all of us, let's say in the south,
Yes.
we are also eating rice.
Absolutely.
So, that what you're saying is the rice is contaminated. Then how come we haven't got it?
Absolutely. You are not exposed persistently, that's one thing.
Right.
Also, well, it's part and parcel of the whole thing, as it were, meaning the diet in Colombo, for example, is very different to Rajarata rural person's diet.
Right.
They virtually eat what they grow regularly.
Yeah.
Not only that, their diet is pretty limited to a certain number of things, such as rice and manioc and sweet potato and local vegetables, etc.
Right.
And whereas in Colombo, we get even rice, we get from the south, for example, and imported rice, and we made other things such as thoseo and quite a bit of bread. Rural people eat less bread because these statistics are there.
Right.
And so our diets are different. And the thing is, I believe it will come to us in Colombo too one day, but it may affect the older people, as it were, and meaning they may get kidney disease at an earlier stage than had they not have had.
We've got a slide about this dietary, sort of the flow of things.
Yeah.
Let's play that when the control room is ready.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Here what I'm trying to say is,
Yes.
people are vulnerable for exposure at any stage in their life,
Right.
even before birth.
Right.
Mothers can pass on these toxins to the fetus.
Right.
Okay? And that may have implications.
Right.
And when the babies are born,
Yes.
the mother's milk may have cadmium or heavy metals.
I see.
We got publications from elsewhere in the world to say that is possible, and that's happening.
Right.
It's very well established.
I see.
So, for example, in the earlier slide we said
Yeah.
that Sri Lanka has the highest number of oral cancer patients in the world
Yeah.
now. And that was said by the president of the International Society of Oral Pathology. This is about 2 years ago, perhaps he is still the president maybe.
Yeah.
And he said in his presentation,
Yeah.
by the way, I read it in the papers, 3rd of October 2016, the Daily Mirror. And in that he had mentioned Anuradhapura, Puranaru and Kurunegala as the places where oral cancer is most prevalent.
Right.
And that's exactly the areas where we got the chronic kidney disease. Not only that, he said the youngest age group is only 6 months old. How on earth the child of that age get oral cancer from chewing betel or tobacco or whatever? Typically, they are the reasons why the adults get oral cancer. Well, this has to be because mother's milk is toxic. And meaning this simply goes to show how serious the condition is.
And we've got a small commercial break coming up.
Yeah.
So after that, let's talk about what we can do. We've got to understand the scale of the problem.
Absolutely.
Let's see what we can do with Dr. Kamal Gammampilla. Don't go away. This is, after all, Newsline. Do come back. Thank you, and welcome back to Newsline, where we are in the company of Dr. Kamal Gammampilla, who's talking to us about CKDU. And and thank you for the various questions that are coming forward, and I trust that you're finding this program informative. Now then, Doctor, you told us the scale of the problem. It's underscored by what President Sirisena himself said. And I know for a fact that President Sirisena has been almost taking this along as a kind of mantra, trying to resolve this issue. So what can be done?
Right. Out of the 400,000 cases he mentions, I believe we can save at least 200,000 without any issue at all.
Well, that's good. How much does it cost? Is this all money driven? Is this why we can't do much?
No, I don't think it's money driven. Money comes into everything. The cost of not doing anything is far higher not only money terms, in human terms as well.
What absolutely, did you know what, Doctor, if I may digress ever so slightly, because this is relevant what you just said.
Yeah.
You said that the cost of doing nothing is actually going to cost us even more.
Absolutely.
And that is precisely what happened, ladies and gentlemen, with the bond. Because we had the minister in charge of the subject of the central bank who did absolutely nothing when he was told about the conflict of interest. I just thought I'd make the point.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Right.
So it's all money.
Yeah. All that is necessary is to give these people low toxic food. I say low toxic because there's no food without toxicity or toxins. So what we need to do is to bring the toxic level to a minimum level as possible. I say minimum too for a reason here. This has to be applied to the whole country one day, but there's no mad urgency for Colombo, for example. But these areas, it has a mad urgency.
Now, one of our viewers is saying that this is excellent, and Sean, thank you. But the question he's posing is even more important, really. So he's asking you, Dr. Kamal, to clarify water purification in these areas alone won't resolve the issue. Does he mean that irrigated water must also be purified, which means that our ancients got it spot on by using the cascade system to filter water?
Yeah. Right. We can't compare the ancient times with current times.
Right.
Things have changed quite a bit. In ancient times, we did not use chemical fertilizer. And chemical fertilizer usage started in Sri Lanka in the late 50s, I believe. And what is happening in Rajarata now, for example, did not start just recently. That's been happening over a long period of time. It's just that it has reached critical levels now. In fact, it was identified in the early 1990s that there was a different type of kidney disease. But even up now, we say we don't know the cause. I think that is not acceptable, you know. And the reason for that, I believe, is we haven't opened our minds properly to understand this issue, and also to, I believe, this is not handled exactly by the appropriate people. And I think there lies the problem. And when it comes to ask what to do, give a clean diet, and we can save at least 200,000 without any issue at all. And in other people, we can delay the incidence of kidney failure happening.
I see. And this slide here,
right.
Dr. Kamal.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is Najawat
in that region.
In that region, district. And this is not mine. This is from the government agencies itself.
Right.
There it shows that where the kidney patients are. In the little circles they got there, the blue indicates healthy, and the orange is kidney patients.
Right.
If you look at the surrounding villages, as it were, 30% of the villages got more than 50% of the people with kidney disease.
Right.
That is, I am afraid, will be repeated elsewhere to one day. Perhaps it has happened already.
This is because you say it's persistent exposure to what? To this chemical fertilizer?
Chemicals. Yes, indeed.
To cadmium. Basically, cadmium.
Well, let's put it this way. Cadmium is the agent that is identified by the WHO.
Right.
I make that point because we cannot ignore that. We can ignore anything else and say it's not proven.
Yes, but this
fine. This is proven. You can't argue with that.
Right.
And the WHO models are based on. There are models based on cadmium related to chronic kidney disease, and in those models, it says at what level one would be critically exposed, and if one is critically exposed at that particular level, how long is it before that they are going to get kidney failure?
Now, I want to ask you this, Doctor. You know, back to this thing in the hill country. And with all our wonderful green fields of, you know, the green carpets, the tea bushes, and obviously they use fertilizers and so on. So then the rains come down, and then they take the water, and the water goes along down to these other areas. And yet, those people don't have CKD?
Absolutely. The reason is, even if they grew rice there, some people do,
Yeah.
they use rainwater.
Right.
They don't take water from Mahali, for example. They use rainwater. Rainwater is fine for agriculture. This is why we don't have this problem in Ampara,
Right.
Western district, Jaffna,
Yes.
hill country. That is because those places you do not use irrigated water from hill country. Ampara, we got 125,000 acres of paddy.
Yeah.
They use fertilizer. They use glyphosate.
Right.
But no CKDU. Because, well, there has to be a reason. And in my belief, and I'm pretty certain, it is because of the irrigation water coming from hill country.
Right.
And there is a group of people who says this is caused by fluoride in the geological water.
Ah.
Okay?
Right.
That's not true. There could be association.
Okay.
Kidney patient, they have fluoride in the water. That doesn't mean that
Right.
fluoride is causing the kidney problem.
Right.
I think, as I said earlier, the chronic kidney disease is defined as a protein leaking condition.
Right.
And at very low level of protein leakage, not when they are ill with kidney disease, but at early times, as it were. And what we need to do is to monitor that. When it comes to fluoride, there is no theoretical mechanism to suggest that fluoride would cause a protein leakage.
Right.
And no one has proven as yet anywhere in the world that fluoride causes protein leakage. There is association.
Right.
That's entirely different matter.
And we've got another slide coming up.
Yeah.
Control room's waiting for me to call the shots
Oh,
here.
right. Okay.
Here we go.
Right. This is the dietary exposure.
Right.
And the yellow bit is about 50%.
Yeah.
That is, by the way, this is only for cadmium. Okay?
This is only for cadmium.
Only for cadmium.
Yeah, okay.
And the cadmium exposure is about 50% is from rice.
I see.
And water less than 10%.
Right.
Cooking and drinking water less than 10%. And that is not enough to cause chronic kidney disease.
Now, Dr. Kamal, I'm about to tell my housekeeper that he's got to wash the rice again and again and again and again. Is this a good idea or a bad idea?
It might
Or won't it make any
makes no
difference?
big difference. Makes
Right.
no big difference.
Okay.
For some people it may, but the issue is huge.
Now, when we were looking at some of the statistics when we met you earlier, one item has stood out, and that is the quantity of water required to put 1 kilogram of rice on the table.
Yeah.
How many kilos?
Yeah, it is 2,000 to 5,000 liters of water.
2,000 to 5,000 liters
of
water per kilogram
of
of
rice.
rice. Wow, that's a lot of water.
It is a lot of water, and that's where the problem lies. Meaning why it is in Rajarata and these places where they get irrigation water from your country.
We was asking you,
Yeah,
are you asking us to grow rice organically?
yeah.
What is the solution?
No, I'm not asking anyone to grow organic rice. If they do it somewhere else, but not in these paddy fields.
Because they're already...
Their soil is toxic.
Right.
In fact, from irrigation water,
How can you get rid of the toxicity?
you can't do it easily.
Right.
No one has come up with a solution yet. In Japan, they had this problem in the 1960s.
Yeah.
Industrial accident. Industry, just like ours,
Yeah.
in hill country as it were, they had a gold mining industry.
Yeah.
That led cadmium into the rivers. And once they knew that problem, they stopped the people consuming rice. And they controlled the issue. And over 30-year period, they covered the whole of the paddy fields with fresh soil. It cost billions. And we can't afford to do that. But there are alternatives.
There are alternatives. I say. Now then, what about this thing about irrigated water? What can we do to stop this pollution, to reverse the trend? What can we do?
In the current context, I don't think there are solutions other than giving these people clean food, and also I would say we should stop growing rice for consumption in these paddy fields now.
So what do you do with that rice then?
Well, you can use it for biofuel maybe,
right,
or beer making, for example, or even animal feed, for example.
Yeah.
Not only that, although that rice is toxic in Sri Lanka, in Rajarata, it is less toxic in Colombo for the reasons I explained earlier, because our consumption patterns are different. And if we send to, say, England, for example, there's no issue at all. Because they eat only 100 grams of rice per week.
Oh, right, okay.
Whereas we eat 300 grams per day, over 2 kilograms per week.
Will beer manufacturers like it? Can they use it?
Absolutely.
Right.
And the thing is, most likely the things will settle in the sediment. That's when the beer is made, the roughage, as it were, settle in the base of the vat.
Right.
And that will happen. Even otherwise, our chemical engineers are smart enough to take stuff out because we are in control of it.
Right.
Whereas with rice, we are not in control. We can bring some control, but it is much easier to do something else, as it were, with the...
There's one more slide. Unfortunately, we're running out of time as well, but still. Let's have a look at the last slide. Key health effects for risk assessment.
This is from the WHO.
Right. Please share with us that report, by the way. We'll be very interested.
Okay, now this one is not a particular report, but this is the general policy document as such. Okay? And in that, they identify for lead, neurodevelopment in children, and for arsenic, skin cancer, and for cadmium, chronic kidney disease. Unfortunately, we are not investigating cadmium or any of these things in Sri Lanka.
Why?
I haven't a clue, I should say. Maybe they already know. Sri Lankan government has been working on this for a long time. In fact, former president knew exactly what was going on. That's why he brought in stringent regulations to control the quality of fertilizer. And also he banned glyphosate. Of course, at that time, even now I must say, glyphosate is not proven to cause chronic kidney disease.
But there you are then.
No, but in the past, I said glyphosate banned by Mahinda Rajapaksa at that time was a mistake from a different point of view. What I said was cadmium was the real cause. Then if they ban the wrong thing, people will carry on using fertilizer regardless. And that may exacerbate the condition. But the point now I know much more about the subject now than 4 years ago. Now I know clean fertilizer too is not going to help. It is not the clean fertilizer.
Dr. Kamal Gammampilla, thank you ever so much. It's been a splendid program, thanks to you. And I'm sure our viewers have found it very informative. Thank you ever so much. We look forward to welcoming you on our network again. And we wish you all the very best in your work with CKDU. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you to everyone who helped produce those slides and so on. Warren Maxwell and Sarah Fonseca, thank you very much for your hard work, and Mr. Archana too. And that's the way it was on Newsline on the 21st of March, Wednesday, 2018. Take care. God bless.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.